Welcome to the cross-site scripting lesson. In this lesson, we are going to attack and use some advanced techniques to use and leverage some victims and other users, even some technical guys, by using cross-site scripting advanced phishing attacks. In these attacks, the real web page remains the same and even a technical guy cannot notice anything suspicious. You can see this is the genuine URL, and even after the attack is successful, we cannot see any change in the web pages and the appearance of the web pages remains unchanged. So let's do some attack here. This is the security devices soap, and this asks to search in the store by using some search field. Phishing with cross-site scripting requires some HTML and the PHP codes. We can perform two types of cross-site scripting vulnerability for the advanced phishing attacks. So the first one attack is by using HTML page that will make an input form inside the DOM of the vulnerable website and parse the user input like email IDs and the password and send it to the desired URL, or simply you can say the attacker controlled website or URL. So this is the HTML form that will capture the input and send all the input to this URL, that is lab.greyhair.in, and there is a PHP file that is fish.php. Let's see what is inside the fish.php file. This file is used to open up Notepad and capture all the input that was redirected with the HTML form that we inserted or injected in the vulnerable cross-site scripting web page. Once the email ID and the password will be captured and parsed by this PHP file, it will be stored in a text file that is fish.txt. After all the details and credentials has been captured by this PHP script, the website URL will be remains same. We can make it to redirect to other website, but to keep the user or the victim unsuspicious, do not make any changes to the URL so that victim user or even a technical guy will not be able to identify what is going on. So let's do some attack here. The first one is you need to install WAMP server, and the second one is to create two files, that is first one a HTML form and the second one is to capture all the data and store inside the txt file. As we know, in the DOM based cross-site scripting attack, website do not pass all the data to the web server and all the data input by the user is processed by its document object model of HTML itself. But advanced phishing attack with the help of cross-site scripting vulnerabilities is more successful where the stored or persistent cross-site scripting vulnerability is present. Because in the cross-site scripting of stored or persistent type, every user will be affected by this attack. If I will type here hello, it is just making an output and presenting with hello or whatever you type here. Now let's analyze the DOM of this page by doing inspect element. You can do it or perform the same task by using Firebug. Here you can see that the input used by me has been inserted in the DOM and manipulated by itself. So this is the clear indication that this will make our attack successful. Now let's inject our code inside this search field. Great. As you can see, it have just manipulated the DOM and presented with the login form that we created with HTML. Now this website looks like unchanged because only there is a login form to enter the username and the password, and the URL of this website is also unchanged. So what happens in normal phishing attack is URL is not remains unchanged and becomes suspicious to the victim users. But this is really a advanced technique that can even leverage your technical guy. Now let's make some input here, like the username is greyhead security and the password is password 123. Just click login, and it have redirected once again to the home page of this website. Now let's see what it have captured. As you can clearly see, the email and the password has been captured by this phishing page, that is advanced phishing attack with the help of cross-site scripting vulnerability. The same attack can even be performed in the DBWA virtual lab. Just submit the input in the reflected cross-site scripting attack. It will make a HTML form, and all the input made by the user or the victim user will be passed to the PHP script that you created. Now let's see the another option, or the second attack. The second attack is really more powerful than the first one, because the second attack do not requires more coding or more scripts. This is simply manipulation of action that redirects the user to perform the user inputs and parsing of all the data. What this code will do is simply manipulate the action that performs login or sending data from one source to another, or simply if you put the login page like username and the password, it will send to the another common gateway interface script. You can get to know about the CGI in detail by using a simple Google search. That is really a simple and powerful script that can gather and capture all the data redirected to that script page. So even by input this form action value inside the input field where the cross-site scripting of, or simply say it is vulnerable, the attack will be more powerful, because in this case of attack everything will be unchanged. As we've seen earlier, there is only input field that is asking for name, username, and the password appears when we input our payload or the HTML form code, but this will not make any changes, but simply the action value to our attacker controlled web pages or the website. That will capture all the things that is going and pass to the CGI script. Now what happens in this case is that neither the URL nor the SSL will going to help you, because there is no any URL modification, and obviously SSL is not playing any role at this time. And the best thing is that original page remains the same. You can create your own advanced phishing page by using HTML, even the JavaScript and VB script or any other languages you know better, because this is a simple HTML form that redirects the user login credentials to the PHP script that is controlled by the hacker or the malicious guy.